The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
I understand where you're coming from, but there's a term in medicine that we use called self-harm.
Yes.
And there are a lot of things that people do that are inexplicable. Self-harm, and it can be physical, it can be emotional, but anyone who just says, here, just take $5,000 out of my bank account, that is engaging in self-harm, because you don't even know if some of these clients, for all you know, that's the only money they have. So to me, those types of clients you have should be spending that money on psychotherapy because they're engaging in self-harm.
Right, it's an issue of consent. Are you really able to give full consent if you are mentally vulnerable? Well, Harley, let's talk about your husband for a second.
Well,
I know you're married, right? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that dynamic that you have with your husband and what he thinks about the lifestyle and the way that you're making money. What does he think about
incredibly supportive. He does all of like the cooking and housework and the cleaning so that I don't have to, so I can collect money from people. Would you say I'm taking advantage of my husband because he cooks and cleans even though he wants to?
I would wonder what the men who give you money would think if at the end of the day it's literally funding your husband's life too, because to me it just gets, here, look, I will say this, if someone comes to me and things seem out of the ordinary and they are overly generous and they are living in poverty, if you were willing to take maybe that individual and say, you know what, maybe it'd be worthwhile to spend this money seeing a psychologist, then I would be fine with it. Because if a man is completely normal and not suffering from severe depression, suicidal thoughts, if they're not suffering from any of that and they're worth millions of dollars and they want to give you $5,000, I'm fine with that. It's the destitute individual who, there are many people out there who are dealing with depression, severe mental health issues, who do inexplicable things, and this just sounds, humbly to me, sounds like one of them.
How am I supposed to know if they're destitute? How am I supposed to know how much money is in their bank account if they just send me money without ever speaking to me?
But at the end of the day, do you feel okay with that, knowing that perhaps at least a minority of your clients are suffering from
You
those
don't
things?
know.
But I don't know. So am I supposed to investigate the personal banking life of every one of my clients? If I owned a lamp store and someone bought a $5,000 lamp, am I supposed to stop them and say, wait,
you know what,
how much money do you have?
issue,
valuable in return. That's the issue. I think it comes down to the service you're providing is feeding an addiction, a bizarre one that you were you were very clever to find it in this world, but they have an addiction just like drug addicts have an addiction. They come back for what is not good for them. And for you to capitalize on that makes me sad.
Oh.
yeah. Well, and before we go, you clearly have made a living for yourself out of this. I respect you for being open and honest about your means of making a living.
And I like your hair.
And your hair is awesome. And real quick, before we go to break, if someone is down on their luck and maybe they're down to their last $500 and they do engage in self-harm by giving it away to Harley, no offense, which you don't even know, what can they do that would be much more valuable?
I think that they need real connection. So even if they're not ready to take that step and go to psychotherapy, I say, go spend that money on a friend, take them out to a fancy dinner. If you really want to spend money for some reason, why don't you do it for something that can actually nurture yourself?
How about a charity that helps somebody else?
That would be a wonderful way to actually gain self-esteem too. When we help other people, we feel better about ourselves. In fact, that's something that helps to pull us out of depression.
And what's really cool is 50 Shades of Pay. That will be opening up in theaters in December. Check it out.